Today's Talk365TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery. And welcome back to the show. Now we're bringing up a subject that I'm not going to say a word about it, but it's breast augmentation. Rumor has it they can do that now.
So Trip, let's talk right now, and not just getting a breast augmentation, but right now in the world with everything going on, how this is sort of the perfect timing, because there's a lot of executives that are pretty much told to stay home right now until January because they figured out how to make it work with Zoom. They're sort of more incognito, they've got more time. And so timing wise, I know a lot of people getting stuff done. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there is no better time because you want to, ease into these things. So we talked in an earlier show, what better time to have a facelift, to do anything, because literally you do not have to see people. You can have a hermit-like existence. And
nobody will question.
Yep. And, don't do your physical therapy in front of a Zoom camera. That's the only thing I can recommend.
Right. So if you've been thinking that you would like to have something done, I would invite you to check out Dr. Grant A Fairbanks' website, because he is an expert in many procedures, including breast augmentation, which we're going to be talking about today. But first and foremost, he is a fourth-generation Utah artist who went into plastic surgery, bringing his artistic talents, combined that with advanced surgical skills. And when you really think about that, I mean, who else would you want performing any of your procedures than somebody who has an artistic eye?
There is no question. And there is nothing worse than seeing a friend who goes too big.
Well, and natural across the board, no matter what the procedure. You don't want anyone to know that you had work done. So watch this, check this out. He's going to give you more information about breast augmentation and the natural fat grafting breast augmentation that he provides and offers. And then if you want more information, log on to his website, where we have a long extended online consult, and you can book a free consultation, which right now he is offering to do online with him live in person online. Or you can go on in person if you're feeling well and all is well in your world. So there you go. Here's Dr. Fairbanks. He's going to tell you all about it.
Today's Talk365TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery with wellness team expert Dr. Grant A. Fairbanks.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Talking Wellness series. I'm Holly Love, and today I am back with our wellness team expert, Dr. Grant A. Fairbanks from Fairbanks Art of Plastic Surgery. Hi, Dr. Fairbanks.
Good morning, Holly. How are you?
I am doing so good, and I am so excited about today's topic. So we're going to dive right in because we are talking all about breast augmentation. So we are going to review all the options, who's a good candidate, all the things that you want to know before you go in and have a consultation about having this done. So let's start with candidates. Who is having this procedure done?
It's typically a woman who is unhappy with the size of their breast. They feel somewhat self-conscious, wants to be able to fill out a swimming suit a little better or a blouse. Often it will also be a woman who's had children and has found that she's feeling deflated after breastfeeding and feels that she would like some more volume, and they just want to feel more feminine. And so breast augmentation or breast enhancement is within the top 3 procedures in cosmetic plastic surgery. It is very popular, and it does make a lot of people happy.
So beyond that, is there an age limit for who is able to get that done?
Typically, I like to start at the age of 18 and older. I've even done breast augmentations on women in their 70s. But typically, those are people who've already had the breast augmentations and we're replacing them.
I see. Well, let's talk about the types of augmentation you can have, because there is silicone, there is saline, there are different sizes. How does that all work?
Well, the silicone breast implant is the most common way of augmenting a breast. And the FDA finally approved these in 2007 for cosmetic purposes. The new silicone implants are safer than they were, say, back in the 80s when the shells were very thin and the gel was actually more liquid. Those implants would rupture. Nowadays, the implants are actually have a thicker shell and the gel is more cohesive. So these don't leak as much or as readily as the older implants. And the FDA recommends that after 3 years that the patients start doing MRIs every 2 years, because really that's the best way of determining the leakage. And it tends to be a favorite amongst patients. They feel that it feels a little more natural And we've been using these for breast reconstruction all along, even during the moratorium that started in the 1990s. So the silicone breast implant is now the most common implant that we use nowadays. But your alternative is a saline implant, which is the silicone shell, but then once we put it in the body, we fill it up with salt water, so it looks very much like a silicone implant.
Just more hard.
Well, some have told me it feels like a water balloon. Some think that it feels very similar to the silicone implants. But when these fail, these deflate, come back to this, and then we know that it's deflated because the breast is smaller.
And you're saying with as strong as they are, typically it's not like they pop, it's more that it's just over time they get a crease and then they rub and then they just get a small hole or a thinning.
Yeah, there's a thinning in the shell.
Well, let's talk placement, because I know there is under the muscle and over the muscle, there is different places you can have an incision. What do you suggest for your patients?
My preferred method is under the breast. We call it an inframammary incision, which is underneath the breast. Through that incision, I can see better the anatomy. I feel that I have better control with bleeding and protection of the nerves that provide sensation to the breast. The thing is eventually the implant will have to be removed.
Right.
And so typically when it's replaced, it'll be removed through the inframammary, and then it has to come out that way. And so might as well start with it from the beginning.
And the scar too, you can hardly see it. It falls right under the fold. It's nothing to be concerned about. You would have to have a microscope basically to know that it was there.
I haven't had any patients complain about them.
Well, so beyond saline and silicone, what else do we have?
Well, the other option, I think you're alluding to fat grafting. Fat grafting for breast augmentation is becoming more popular. It is a very good procedure, and it is the more natural way of doing your own breast augmentation. So what do? Liposuction, breast augmentation, well, they're both within the top 3 procedures in cosmetic plastic surgery, so why throw the fat away?
Exactly.
So little liposuction of the hips, the thighs, the belly, and then once we process the fat, we then put it into the breast through 2 port sites, one on the lower inner portion and the lower outer portion. And so the incisions on the breast are very small nicks. And it's through those small nicks that we're able to put the fat through with what we call a cannula. So the size of incisions for fat grafting are significantly smaller than those for silicone or saline implants.
I'm gonna say how many of you have not said, why can't they just take it from here and here and here and stick it in here?
The answer is yes.
I love that answer, yes, but there are some precautions because I can't donate for you. So sadly, I would be lined up months ago to deliver all kinds of fun ability to give people an edge if they're just too skinny to have their own, but you do have to have a certain amount of fat.
Well, the limiting factors is how much fat the patient can give me. Well, give themselves.
Right, and how many times do they need to have this done?
Well, this is a procedure where less is more, because the fat that you transfer from, say, the hips to the breast needs to have a blood supply to stay alive. And if you put in too much, there's a certain amount of fat that won't survive because it doesn't have a blood supply. So typically, the patient will have at least 2 and sometimes 3 procedures to finally finish up their ultimate goal.
Well, let's talk size, because I think that is always a very big topic of concern for people who are wanting this. Like, what size should you be? How big? How little? Is there any kind of artistic measurement? You, with your artistic background in sculpting, I would imagine you know exactly what a body needs to look great.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that. Personally, I like to see somebody who's proportional, and I go over proportions with my patients. So for more petite women, a smaller implant is what you want, and if you're taller and have more broader chest, you want the bigger one. It's the width of the implant. However, the size of breast is really individualized.
Well, let's talk recovery, because I imagine recovery for a typical silicone or saline breast augmentation versus the fat grafting breast aug has a little bit of different downtime. So let's talk, what can people expect from the results?
For the implant breast augmentations, it can be a little sore. Being placed under the muscle, it stretches the muscle, but you know, it's tolerated really well. And so I ask people not to do any heavy lifting or strenuous exercise for about 6 weeks. And I find that I get good results with my patients in doing that. With the fat grafting, it's pretty much the same. I ask them to be very careful with the breast, especially for the first couple of weeks, because that's the time when we're developing a nice blood supply to keep that fat alive.
Well, now for those people out there who are interested in having this done, what's the next thing for them to do?
Well, the easiest thing is to call us. You can find a telephone number on our website, fairbanksmd.com, and call and set up an appointment.
I love it. And for a limited time, if you are online and you enter promo code Talk365TV or you mention Talk365TV, you will get that consultation for free, but not for long. So definitely jump on that while it's still available. It's a huge value. And the consultation process, as I mentioned before with this guy, is absolutely phenomenal. He will thoroughly go through everything that you need to know, want to know. As I mentioned, he is a 4th generation artist. He brings this combination of artistic skill with advanced surgical techniques, and you couldn't ask for a better advocate to walk you through any procedure. Dr. Fairbanks, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Holly. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Talk365 TV right after this.